So today we are going to discuss specifically what happened on the moon LV-223, the aftermath of the Prometheus events. A lot of interesting and a lot of fascinating, a lot of jaw-dropping stuff. I mean, starting from flora and fauna and the Decon scenes and some scenes involving the engineers and xenomorphs, but this domain gradually shifts to the comic books of the Prometheus, the Fire and Stone and the Life and Death. So we'll discuss that too. All right. Now, just a basic stuff. LV-223, the moon is named after a biblical reference, Leviticus 22:3, which says that if anyone of your descendants touches these things, the person will become unclean. Now, technically, the engineers are unclean too. They have no sense of ethics and morality, and we as humans, when we touch them, that will make us unclean as per the script. So that will mean two wrongs will make a right. But unfortunately, there was nothing right in the movie, literally and figuratively. Okay, so they're specifically referring here as to the black goo, which David touched. He messed around with it, and he kind of infected and destroyed the entire crew. Yeah, minus the two jackets. They didn't know what they were doing, so that death is on them. So we only had a pure soul, Dr. Elizabeth Shaw, remaining. And yes, the captain of the ship and the assistant captains. Now, even Dr. Elizabeth Shaw had undergo a horrible abortion because she had a baby out of wedlock, and that was a punishment. Beautiful octa-face body hugger. So that's that. Now moving on to the exact main plot as to what happened to the moon LV-223. Now originally it was planned that David and Shaw would be pursued by the newborn Deacon alien as to avenge his father and run towards a second juggernaut on LV-223. The collector's Blu-ray edition of Prometheus contains many images of that sequence and provides more details for the Deacon's pursuit and his physicality. The alien runs across desert landscapes as it hunts down Shaw and nearly misses the Juggernaut. This would actually imply that Shaw quickly reassembled David since he doesn't know how to control and navigate the Juggernaut ship. By the way, that Juggernaut has really good power. We need to do in-depth analysis on the ship too. Content to milk on, all in the next videos. So, if David had to explain her to how to set up the navigation system so they could leave before the Deacon reached them, that's also a possibility, but that would take a lot of time, and the Deacon has no time. And the sole purpose of Deacon is to hunt and sense. Now, a year after Prometheus, a probe is sent to the moon and starts to scan the landscape, but an engineer crashes it on its way. This actually indicates that there's at least one more engineer still alive in the years that follow the Prometheus expedition. LV-223 changed dramatically from rocks and stones to massive organic jungles. The ampules from the engineer ship containing the black goo pigments, they spread basically decentralized across the entire moon and accelerated the development of whole world's ecosystem, and that eventually engulfed the entire planet. It just spread, keep dividing, keep giving birth to new forms, multi-hybrids. It is basically forced evolution of all the microorganisms. I mean, there must be a various multiple species of microorganisms, and eventually they became the best version of themselves. That's right, that's right. 86 years after the Prometheus expedition, a cargo ship, the Warner, made an emergency landing on LV-223 due to a xenomorph attack aboard. The crew thought they had killed all the xenomorphs, but it wasn't the case. Shortly after landing, the remaining xenomorphs killed the crew and escaped into the jungle. 40 years hence, a second human vessel, the Gian, arrived at LV-223 as a part of a documentary film expedition with Captain Angela Foster to discover the fate of Peter William and the Prometheus crew, or what left of it. The human crew soon discovered different creatures and xenomorphs in the jungle. They also arrived at the moon in middle of a conflict between xenomorphs, engineers, and predators. Jesus Christ, we must see this ASAP. We need a spin-off series or live action of these three. The remaining engineers were wakened from the stasis sleep and began attacking the crew with the intent of continuing their mission to wipe out humanity. This is a true definition of Terminators. At one point, the two crew members were surrounded by a bunch of xenomorphs, and an unexpected engineer killed the aliens and saved these people. However, when humans showed their gratitude to the engineer, it destroyed them using the same weapon. If I was in the human's place, I would just say, well, you did your duty well. Right? We are so submissive. It appears that engineers weave all the other species as threats, similar to how xenomorphs are extremely violent and hostile while protecting their territory. Eventually, one of the two engineers was killed, and only four humans remained alongside a predator named Ahab, who formed a temporary alliance with them. The survivors tried to cross a lake, but some of them fell into the water where mutated sharks were lurking below. I've made a shot on this. What if a phaser got attacked a great white shark? So be sure to check it out.
The crew also encountered the same Deacon that we saw in the movie Prometheus. After more than 100 years, the Deacon had transformed into a mountain. Now, this is specifically from the comic books, but why this? Because, like I said, there was no species to hunt during the time between the Deacon and the time where the Black Goo decentralized on the entire moon. So during this period, the Deacon had nothing to feed on and survive. But if this Deacon was the engineers worshipped, I don't know how come this guy didn't have the power we xenomorphs had. I mean, xenomorphs could eventually create a substance. They secret a substance, the resin, which they cover themselves in, and it kind of just freezes their metabolism. I don't know how the Deacon didn't have this ability. Maybe this guy was non-premium version. So the only thing it had to confuse, the only food it consumed was the black goo, and consuming black goo from the surplus resulted in the severe mutation. And that's how I think the black goo spread on the entire moon because of this guy just consuming them and throwing the ampules like they were waste tins. So the Deacon actually grew to the size of a goddamn mountain. Now, this is actually interesting, and well, that's it. I mean, we should go in detail. Then we have to go in detail through the entire comic series, the Fire and Stone and Life and Death series, and we'll go through them. There are about 6 to 8 comics in that line. Yeah, there are other two videos we have to discuss too, as to the Deacon specifically, and what happened to the engineers before the LV-223, like what they were cooking up. Two videos in the pipeline. We'll see how it goes. Thank you so much.